Hello everyone. Today we are going to see an interface of one of the important RPA tool called blueprism. So blueprism is one of the automation RPA tool where we do automate the tasks. So once we log in into the blueprism, this is the home page we will be landing into. So in home page we'll be having the charts like for workforce availability and total automation, and for queue volumes. Now workforce availability is nothing but the resource management where we do manage the Windows machine which help us to run the processes. So and these charts give the detail about the number of automations that we do developed. This gives the details based on the objects and processes. We'll see about this process and objects in on further discussions. And queue volume. Blue Prism queue is the place where we do add the records and maintain the records, which will help us to refer the records on later uses. So here we have some number of status in the Blue Prism queue. So this pie chart is the display based on the statuses. And the next tab is Studio tab. In Studio tab we have two categories. One is Process Studio and another is Object Studio. In Process Studio, uh, we do develop the or align the business processes, business logics, and in Object Studio, where we do interact with the application. So as implementing the automation, as implementing the bot, what we are going to do, we are going to replace the human in means of robot. So as a human, what we do as a manual work, what we do interact with the application in means of reading some data in the application, writing some data in the application, and clicking the button. So those activities will be performed in Object Studio. So those activities will be called in the Process Studio and the business logic will be made. And next tab is control tab. Here in the control tab, there are few important things to discuss. And first thing is about session management. Session management is nothing but where we do trigger the process and monitor the process. And this is the area of session where the processes will get triggered and executed. So here we can see the statuses of processes like running, pending, completed, terminated, stopping. And this is the area where the resources will be available. Resources means this is the Windows machine. So we need a space to run the process. So this Windows machine will be the space for us to run the automation and available processes. These are the processes that we already developed in the Process Studio. So those processes will be available here. We need to assign a process to a machine so that it will be get executed. Another important thing is queue management. Under queue management, we can have the number of queues where we will be adding the data to the queue so that we can refer in which status it is. So we have some number of statuses here. If it is a green tick mark, which means the particular record has been completed successfully, and lock symbol means the particular record is in process. Flag means the particular record has been met with any kind of exception. It may be a system exception or a business exception. And three dots, which is the pending state, which means that those records are yet to progress. And here do we have the scheduler where we can schedule the process, and so that it will be get triggered automatically. So while scheduling the process, we need to give name and assign a task to it, and under a task we need to declare a process inside it, and we need to provide the frequencies and time start time for it, so that on that particular time, based on the frequencies, the process will be get triggered automatically from the scheduler. And another important thing that we know is a release tab, where we do take the release and maintain the packages. So from where we will be taking the packages and move that code to the UAT. And once the UAT or testing has been done, we'll be moving the same code to the production. So this helps us in managing the releases and package. And system tab, it's a very important tab. We need to know certain things here. There were huge things on this page, but I'll explain few of the things about the environment variable. Environment variable is nothing but uh, as a basic variable means we'll be storing the value in it, right? So if it is an environment variable, which is like a global variable, if we declare any variable here, we can reuse it in multiple processes, which means that the variable is not stick to any one process. We can call that particular variable in multiple processes. And another thing is work. Um, we have seen work under control tab. If we create a queue here under the system tab, that will be get applicable in the control tab to use it. So here we can create the queue by clicking this new. We can able to create another queue here. And another important thing that we know here is credentials. In Blue Prism, we can maintain the credential in Blue Prism system itself, Blue Prism tool itself. So this is the area where we do create and maintain the credentials. So to create the credentials, we will be clicking new here so that this pop-up will appear. We can give the name here, username, password, and access rights we need to provide, like security roles, whatever the security roles we are concerned to give, we can give that. And process, so whichever the processes which need to access these particular credentials called XYZ, so we can give accesses to the particular processes. And resource machine, so as it is a local setup, I'll be having only one resource machine which we are using it, but in office environment we'll be having number of machines here, so we can provide machine accesses as well to access these particular credentials. So that's about today. We'll meet on another interesting topic on another day. Thanks much.